Welcome to Zoe Stories. I wore her bra as a joke. Now it's not coming off. I never thought a stupid joke would unravel my entire sense of self. It was supposed to be funny, a moment of teasing, just something to make Emma laugh. But now, I'm staring into the mirror, wearing her bra, and I'm not laughing. I'm Jason, 25, web developer. Quiet, methodical, not the kind of guy who usually takes risks. I spend most of my time in front of screens, designing websites for small clients, troubleshooting code, ordering food from the same 3 restaurants. A quiet life, no surprises. Except Emma. Emma is the one surprise I let in. My girlfriend for the past 2 years. She's everything I'm not. Vibrant, stylish, confident. A marketing director at a lifestyle brand, always traveling, always wearing something that turns heads. I've always admired her confidence, the way she owns every room she walks into. We're opposites, but we work. At least, we did. Until last week. It started with laundry. She was running late for a work dinner, and in her usual whirlwind, left half her closet strewn across our bed. Dresses tossed aside, heels kicked into corners, bras hanging off chair backs. I was in the bedroom folding shirts when I saw it. A red lace bra she'd worn on our anniversary. And I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was the quiet. Maybe it was boredom. Or maybe, just maybe, I was curious. I picked it up. The fabric felt strange between my fingers, soft, delicate, intimate. My heart thudded in my chest. What are you doing, Jason? I thought. I slipped it on over my t-shirt. Looked in the mirror. Laughed. I'm Emma, I said in a high-pitched voice, striking a pose. Then I heard it, the sound of the front door unlocking. Panic surged through me. I yanked the bra off and threw it under the bed just as Emma walked in. Hey, babe, she said, tossing her keys on the counter. Hey, I replied, heart still racing. She glanced at me, narrowing her eyes. Why are you so red? Hot, I stammered. Just warm in here. She didn't push it, just smiled. You're weird. And went to change. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. About how the lace had felt. About how I'd looked. About that tiny flicker of something that wasn't quite embarrassment, and wasn't quite shame either. It was something else. That night, while she showered, I pulled the bra out again. And that's when things really started. The apartment felt emptier than usual after Emma left. Her scent still lingered in the bedroom, sweet, warm, a mix of vanilla lotion and soft lavender perfume. I wandered around, trying to distract myself with coffee, video games, and half-hearted work, but I couldn't focus. The bra under the bed had taken root in my mind like a weed I couldn't pull. I stood at the edge of the mattress, staring at the floor where I knew I'd hidden it. My hand moved on its own, pulling it out gently like it was some forbidden relic. The red lace caught the light, practically glowing. I knew I should put it away. I should. Instead, I walked into the bathroom, shut the door, and stared at myself in the mirror. I peeled off my hoodie and t-shirt, the cool air brushing against my bare chest. Then, slowly, I slipped the straps over my shoulders, adjusted the cups, and reached behind to fasten the clasp. It took me 3 tries, fumbling awkwardly, but when I finally got it, something changed. The tension in my chest didn't come from shame this time. It was excitement. It was like putting on armor, only softer. Like I was stepping out of Jason and into someone else. Someone I didn't know yet, but maybe wanted to. I turned sideways, then faced the mirror. I didn't fill out the bra, obviously, but the sight of the lace against my skin made my throat tighten. It should have looked ridiculous, but it didn't. I ran a hand across my chest, tracing the curve of the bra. My fingers trembled, and not from fear. Curiosity. Adrenaline. A strange warmth blooming in my stomach. I left it on. For hours. I made lunch in it, walking around the kitchen in jeans and a bra like some surreal dream. I'd put on a hoodie when I passed by the window, heart racing at every sound in the hallway, convinced someone would see. But no one did. No one knew. And I didn't want to take it off. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed wearing it under my shirt, the underwire pressing faintly against my ribs. It should have felt wrong, but it didn't. It felt comforting, like a secret hug no one could see. I dreamed in red lace. The next morning, I woke up to sunlight spilling across the room and a strange thought in my head. If the bra feels this good, what about the rest? I sat up slowly, heart already racing. My fingers moved without thinking, pulling open Emma's dresser drawer. Blouses, panties, tights, silk camisoles. All hers. All off limits. But I wasn't thinking about rolls anymore. I lifted a sheer ivory camisole, lace-trimmed and barely there. My breath caught. The idea of pairing it with the red bra. I shut the drawer. No. This was too far. Too fast. Except I didn't walk away. I opened the drawer again and pulled out the cami. In the mirror, I looked strange, but beautiful. The contrast of red lace under translucent white. My skin had never looked so soft, so delicate. And something inside me, something quiet and long-buried, started whispering, "What if this is you?" I shook it off. No. This was just exploration. Just a phase. Just curiosity. Right? But I couldn't stop. I slid on a pair of her leggings, tight, smooth, high-waisted. They clung to me like a second skin. I walked back to the mirror. Now fully dressed. And still not fully me. Not yet. But getting closer. Just then my phone buzzed. "Emma. Flight delay. Won't be back till Monday. Miss me yet?" My heart skipped. More time. More space. More room to explore. And suddenly Monday felt way too close. It was Sunday morning, and the silence in the apartment felt less like solitude and more like permission. I stood in front of the mirror again. But this time, the bra and camisole weren't enough. I wanted to see how far I could go. How far she could go, this version of me that was still nameless, still uncertain, but growing louder with every layer of lace and stretch fabric. Emma had a makeup drawer in the bathroom, neatly organized by product type. Foundation, concealer, a rainbow of eyeshadows, lipstick stacked in neat rows like bullets in a velvet tray. I hesitated for a second. Then I reached for a soft pink tube labeled Petal Kiss. My hand trembled. I uncapped it and slowly dragged the color across my lips, careful not to go outside the lines. It wasn't perfect, but in the mirror, I saw something shift. I saw a softness, a curiosity, a flicker of something new. Next came blush, dabbed carefully along my cheeks, and a little mascara, just enough to deepen my lashes. It didn't feel like wearing a costume. It felt like peeling something off, like stripping away a version of me that had always been performative. Jason, the quiet tech guy. Jason, the dependable boyfriend. Jason, who never asked too many questions about his own reflection. But now, this wasn't Jason. This was someone else. And she was starting to breathe. I went back to Emma's closet. This time, not just looking for pieces I liked, but ones that would suit her. This version of me. Her. A knee-length black skirt. A cropped wine-colored sweater. Tights. It all came together naturally, like puzzle pieces clicking into place. I slipped on the outfit, adjusted the sweater, smoothed down the skirt. Then paused. Shoes. I had skipped them before. Too scary. Too loud. But now, Emma's heels were in a row at the bottom of the closet. I knelt, heart thudding. There they were, sleek black pumps, not too high, with a thin ankle strap and pointed toe. Classic. Elegant. I unbuckled them. Slipped them on. They fit. Not perfectly, but enough. I stood, shakily. The heels threw off my balance, forced my posture to change. Chest forward. Hips shifted. Shoulders softer. I took one careful step. Then another. Then I turned to the mirror again. I gasped. I was still me, but not Jason. For the first time in my life, I didn't recognize the person staring back. But I wanted to. I sat down in front of Emma's vanity and took a selfie. Just one. No face, just lips, neckline, and the delicate curve of the bra under the sweater. It wasn't for anyone else. It was for me. To remember this moment. To prove it happened. Later, I found myself pacing the apartment, heels clacking softly against the floor, skirt swishing with each step. I was careful to avoid the windows, but I didn't care as much as before. My fear was shifting, morphing into something else.
Excitement.
Dangerous, thrilling excitement. Then I stood in the middle of the living room and whispered it out loud. Who are you? The question hung in the air. I thought of names. None of them felt right. Too random. Too far from who I was. Until one did. Jessa. I said it softly.
Jessa.
A warmth spread through me. My pulse slowed. My lips curled into a smile. I didn't know if it was permanent, or if it even mattered. But in that moment, I had a name. And she felt real. That night, I didn't take anything off. I fell asleep as Jessa. Bra, sweater, skirt, everything. And when I woke up, she was still there. But so was the panic. Because Emma's flight was early Monday morning. And I had just less than 24 hours to decide if I'd pretend none of this ever happened, or if I was willing to risk everything. It should have been easy to take everything off. Strip away the skirt. Toss the sweater. Wipe off the lipstick and blush. Unhook the bra. Slide it down my arms. And tuck it away like nothing ever happened. It should have felt like relief. Instead, it felt like tearing off my own skin. Monday morning came too fast. I woke tangled in sheets, the thin strap of the bra pressing into my shoulder. My lips were still faintly pink. A smudge of mascara blurred under one eye. I sat up slowly, groggy, aching from the awkward way I'd slept in the heels and tights. Jessa was still with me. Not as bold now, but lingering. And Jason? Jason was supposed to return today. Emma's flight would land in the afternoon. I had hours. But it didn't feel like enough. I started peeling everything off, trying to reverse time. I slid out of the skirt and tights, tossing them onto the bed.
Pulled the sweater over my head.
Turned toward the mirror and froze. The bra was still on. I reached back, fumbling for the clasp, but my fingers weren't cooperating.
It took longer than I liked.
I muttered under my breath and twisted it around to the front to get better leverage. Finally, I got it unhooked and tugged it off. But when I looked at my chest, my stomach dropped. Two faint red outlines arced beneath my skin, the shadow of the cups, pressed in by hours of wear. The skin was indented slightly, blushing from the tightness. And the worst part? It felt empty without it. Like something had been holding me in place, and now I was loose again. Unstable. I stood there staring at the marks like they were tattoos. What had I done? I ran to the bathroom and turned on the faucet, splashing my face with cold water. The makeup came off in streaks, pink and black sliding down the sink like melted candy. But when I looked up, my eyes still looked different, like they remembered. I changed into a plain black t-shirt and jeans, Jason's uniform. Neutral. Safe. But everything felt foreign now. My skin itched. My chest felt exposed. I kept adjusting my shirt like trying to hide the ghost of the bra still clinging to my body. I paced the apartment, full of nervous energy. That's when my phone buzzed. Emma, hey love. Flight moved up. I'll be home around noon instead of 3, can't wait to see you.
Noon.
I checked the clock. 10:42 a.m.
Panic set in.
I ran back into the bedroom. The bed was a mess, lingerie strewn everywhere. My makeup-smudged tissues were still in the trash. The leggings, the cami, the bra, now crumpled beside the dresser. I started grabbing everything, shoving it back into drawers, wiping down the counter, tossing tissues deeper into the bin, scrubbing the sink. I sprayed perfume in the air to cover the scent of foundation and powder. And still, the mirror haunted me. I pulled out a fresh hoodie and zipped it up, covering my chest like armor. I was Jason again. I had to be, but as I moved past the mirror to leave the room, I glanced again and saw her. Just for a second. Jessa, hiding beneath the surface. Watching. Then came the sound. The keys. The click of the lock turning. Emma was home. And I wasn't ready. Hey babe. Emma's voice rang out the second the door swung open. I stood frozen by the kitchen counter, my fingers gripping a mug of coffee I hadn't even sipped. My heart thudded so loud I was sure she could hear it from the hallway. I forced a smile. Hey. Welcome home. She rolled in her suitcase, kicked off her heels, and tossed her purse on the table.
Ugh.
That flight was a nightmare. Remind me never to fly on a Monday morning again. She walked over and leaned in to kiss me. I tilted my face a fraction too late. Her lips landed on my cheek.
She paused.
Just for a second, then pulled back slowly and looked at me. Her eyes scanned my face, not in a casual, loving way, but in a quiet, calculating one. Something was off in her gaze. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said too quickly. Just tired. Didn't sleep well. She walked past me to the bedroom. I stood in place, frozen. Did I wipe everything down? Did I throw out all the tissues? Did I miss a speck of lipstick in the sink? Was the makeup drawer still in the exact same position? I followed her after a moment, pretending to act normal. Emma stood in front of the closet, looking through her dresses. She said nothing at first, but her silence was thick. Then she spoke. Did you do laundry? I hesitated.
Yeah.
A little. Thanks, she said flatly. Another pause. She turned toward the bed and picked up her red bra. The one I thought I'd hidden well. The one I wore. She held it delicately, like it had become something fragile. She inspected it. Her fingers pinched the straps, brushed over the cups. I nearly choked on my heartbeat. She turned to me, raising an eyebrow. Did you move this? I swallowed. I might have while cleaning. It fell on the floor. She didn't blink, just nodded slowly. Okay. Okay, that's all? But she didn't look away from me. She stared at me for just a moment too long. Her eyes flicked down toward my hoodie zipper. For a second, I thought she was staring at the faint indent the bra had left on my chest. My skin still held the shape like a brand. I crossed my arms without thinking, suddenly conscious of every thread on my body. Emma turned away. I exhaled shakily. She unpacked while I tried to play casual, rambling about a new client, showing her a dumb meme, anything to keep the air light. But something had changed. She laughed, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. She touched my arm, but didn't hold it like she used to. And every time I turned away, I felt her looking at me. Later that evening, while she showered, I checked the trash. Empty. She'd cleaned it. Or searched it. I wasn't sure which was worse. At dinner, she barely touched her food. You're being quiet, I said. She gave a faint smile. Just tired. Are you mad at me? Her fork paused midair. Why would I be mad at you? She asked. There was no edge in her tone. But there was something. A gap. A question left unasked. I looked down at my plate. I couldn't eat either. That night, she curled up on the couch beside me while we watched a movie. Her head rested on my shoulder. Her fingers looped around my wrist, holding me softly. But I couldn't relax. I kept waiting for her to say something.
To ask.
To confront. But she didn't. And somehow that was worse. Because Emma noticed everything. She always had.
And now?
She was just waiting. Tuesday morning started like any other. Or at least it looked like it did. Emma had already left for work when I got out of bed. The apartment was quiet. Warm light filtered through the curtains. Everything was still.
Too still.
I shuffled into the bedroom, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. That's when I saw it. A small black makeup bag resting neatly on the center of the bed.
Closed. Clean.
Deliberate. Not tossed aside like usual. Not hidden away in the bathroom drawer where she always kept it.
Placed.
Presented. And on top of it a folded note. My stomach tightened. I stepped closer, half expecting it to vanish like a dream. I reached for the note with trembling fingers and unfolded it. Just one line, written in Emma's loopy cursive. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. No judgment. That was it. No signature. No accusation. No smiley face. Just a message.
Clear.
Gentle. And utterly disarming. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the bag like it might explode. She knew. Not completely. Not all the details. But she knew enough. Enough to leave this. Enough to offer something instead of demanding answers. And yet, my gut twisted. Was it kindness? Or a trap? Was she giving me space or calling me out? I unzipped the bag slowly. Inside, foundation, mascara, a tube of soft coral lipstick, a compact mirror, and a pink sponge applicator that still smelled faintly of her. These were the same tools I'd fumbled through just days ago. But now they sat here, waiting for me.
Given to me.
Invited. I closed my eyes and exhaled. A part of me wanted to run, to toss it all into a drawer and pretend I never saw it, to fake a headache, avoid eye contact, and bury the memory like it never existed. But another part reached for the lipstick. My hand hovered, fingers brushing the cap. No cameras. No one watching. Just me. And the decision I was too afraid to name. I didn't put it on. Not yet. Instead, I carried the bag into the bathroom and placed it beside the sink. Just where Emma would leave it. Where she wanted me to find it. The rest of the day passed in a haze. I tried to work, but barely typed a sentence. Every time I blinked, I saw the words. I'm here. No judgment. Was it possible? Could I tell her? Could I explain the thrill, the confusion, the strange comfort I found in her clothes, her world, her mirror? Would she understand? Or worse, would she pretend to? By the time Emma came home that night, I was a wreck. I greeted her with the usual hug, a quick kiss, asked how her day went, mechanical, rehearsed. She smiled and chatted like nothing had changed. But I saw her eyes flick to the bathroom door. She knew I'd found the bag. She was waiting, but she wasn't pushing. And somehow, that made it harder. We ate dinner in near silence. When she finally stood to clear the plates, I reached across the table and touched her hand. She looked back at me, eyebrows raised. I swallowed hard. I saw what you left. She nodded. Okay. My voice was barely above a whisper. What did it mean? Her expression softened. No teasing, no sarcasm. Just something deeper. It means I see you, Jason, she said. Even if you're not ready to see yourself. I almost cried right there. But I didn't. Instead, I nodded, stood up, and held her hand a second longer than I needed to. That night, after she went to bed, I stood in the bathroom. I opened the makeup bag again. This time, I picked up the lipstick. I turned it slowly in the light. Then, I looked in the mirror and whispered the truth. I don't know who I am yet. My fingers pressed the color gently to my lips. But I think I want to find out. The next morning was impossibly quiet. Emma moved through the apartment like a shadow, making coffee, scrolling through her phone, brushing her hair in front of the mirror. She wasn't cold. She wasn't angry. But she was waiting. And I could feel it like a wire strung tight between us. We sat at the table, the same one where we'd shared 100 lazy Sunday breakfasts. But now, the silence had weight. Her spoon tapped once against her mug. Then she looked at me. Steady. Open. Deadly calm. Jason, she said. I stopped chewing. Yeah. She took a breath. And asked, is there anything you want to tell me? Time froze. I stared at her like she'd spoken a language I barely understood. My mind splintered in 1,000 directions. Does she know everything? Is she testing me? What if I lie? What if I tell the truth? What if I say too much? What if I say too little? I felt the faint press of fabric against my skin, even though I wasn't wearing it. The ghost of the bra. The echo of Jessa. The shame and thrill still fresh in my chest. My throat dried out. About what? I regretted the words instantly. She tilted her head. Her voice was still soft, but firmer now. About anything. The last few days. While I was gone. I wanted to say it. I wore your clothes. I wore your bra. More than once. I wore your makeup. I liked it. I'm not sure who I am anymore, but there's someone inside me I need to understand. Instead, I said, I just missed you. She smiled, but it was sad. Like she knew I'd just built another wall between us. She reached into her purse, pulled out her keys, and tossed them gently onto the table. Then leaned back in her chair. You know, she said quietly, I don't really care if it was a joke or a dare or something else. I looked up. Her eyes were kind, but unflinching. I don't care if you wore the bra, or the sweater, or the skirt. I don't even care if you liked it. My heart stuttered. I care if you think you have to hide it from me. I couldn't speak. Not because I didn't have words, because there were too many. They jammed in my throat, desperate to spill out. But still, I stayed silent. Emma nodded slowly. She wasn't surprised, only disappointed. She stood up. I'm going for a walk. I blinked. Wait, Emma, But she was already at the door. She didn't slam it. She just left. And for the first time since this all began, I felt completely, unbearably alone. The door clicked shut behind Emma like a verdict. I stood in the middle of the living room, arms limp at my sides, the silence louder than anything she'd actually said. She hadn't yelled. She hadn't accused me. She hadn't even said the word.
Crossdressing.
She just waited. Gave me space. Gave me every chance to tell her the truth. And I couldn't. Now I didn't know what was worse, lying to her, or lying to myself. I walked into the bedroom like I was on autopilot. My eyes went straight to the dresser. I opened the top drawer. The bra was still there. Folded now. Had she put it away? My stomach turned. I grabbed it, hands trembling, and stared at the soft red lace. Something that once made me feel powerful, alive, even beautiful. Now it felt like a confession I wasn't ready to sign. I marched into the bathroom and dropped it into the small trash bin.
It didn't feel satisfying.
Just hollow. The mirror caught my eye. I looked at myself. The face was clean now, no makeup, no blush, no lip gloss. Just Jason.
Bare. Guilty.
But the longer I stared, the more I could feel her. Jessa. She wasn't in the lipstick or the bra or the sweater. She wasn't in the heels or the perfume. She was in me. And she was still there. I turned on the faucet. Cold water.
Splash.
Then again. Harder. I grabbed a towel and wiped at my face like it could scrub away the truth. But when I looked back at the mirror, she was still there. Something softer in my eyes. Something that wouldn't retreat. Something real. I grabbed the wastebasket and pulled the bra out again.
Held it.
Clutched it to my chest. Not because I was proud, but because I was terrified of what I'd become if I kept hiding her. If I kept choosing shame over honesty. If I kept pretending I could erase this without losing part of myself. I walked back into the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, the bra in my lap. I didn't wear it. I didn't try anything on. I just sat with it. With her. With me. I looked up at the mirror across the room and finally whispered, I don't want to lose her. And for once, I didn't mean Emma. The apartment door creaked open just after sunset. I didn't move. I was still sitting on the edge of the bed, the red bra resting quietly in my lap. My fingers had stopped fidgeting with it hours ago. Now I just held it like a memory. I wasn't ready to give up. I heard Emma set down her keys, kick off her shoes. A moment of silence passed, longer than it should have taken her to walk down the hall. She knew. She sensed it. Finally, her voice drifted from the doorway. You didn't throw it away, did you? I turned slowly. She was standing in the frame of the bedroom door, her coat still on, her face unreadable. I looked down at the bra in my lap. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. So, I shook my head. Emma stepped into the room. Her footsteps were soft. Not angry. Not accusatory. Just sure. She sat beside me on the bed. We didn't speak for a moment. Then she gently reached out and ran her fingers over the lace. Her touch was featherlight. Familiar. I used to hate this bra, she said with a soft chuckle. Always pinched me in the ribs. I gave a weak smile. It fits me pretty well. She looked at me. Not with confusion. Not with disgust. But with something close to understanding. I'm sorry I lied. I finally said. My voice cracked on the last word. I just didn't know what to say. Or how. She nodded. I know. I thought it was a one-time thing. A joke. But it's not. I paused. It's more. Another pause. I don't think I want to stop. She breathed in slowly, as if taking that in fully. Then she looked me in the eye. You don't have to. That broke something in me. A dam, a weight, whatever it was, it gave way. Tears welled up. I looked down, embarrassed. Emma reached over and gently turned my chin to face her. Jason, she whispered. I love you. All of you. Even the parts you don't know how to name yet. I laughed wetly. Even Jessa? She smiled. Especially Jessa. Then she reached for the bra in my lap, lifted it carefully, and handed it back to me. Want some help putting it on right this time? Emma stood behind me, adjusting the bra straps on my shoulders like a tailor fitting someone for armor. Too tight? She asked softly. No, I whispered. It's perfect. I looked at myself in the mirror. The same red bra, but this time, with her help, it looked different. Neater. More intentional. And somehow so did I. Emma smiled behind me and handed me her softest cardigan.
Here, she said.
Try this with it. I slid the fabric over my arms, the knit brushing delicately against my skin. Then she offered a touch of blush. Just a dab. Nothing bold. Just enough to soften the edges of Jason's face. Then came the lipstick. That same coral shade. This time, she applied it for me.
Slow.
Gentle. I stared at myself in the mirror, feeling like something impossible was forming. Someone real. Someone whole. My fingers brushed the edge of the vanity, grounding me as my heart soared. Jessa was here again. But this time, she wasn't hiding. Emma stood back to admire her work. You're beautiful, she said simply. I smiled nervously. You really think so? I know so. Then, just as I turned in the mirror to see myself fully, ding-dong. The doorbell. We both froze. I turned sharply toward the sound. Emma's eyes widened. Were we expecting someone? I shook my head.
No.
Not at all. Another ring. Ding-dong. Ding-dong. Too fast. Too loud. Too urgent. I stumbled backward, panicked. I can't, Emma. I can't answer like this. She was already on her feet. It's okay. Don't worry. Go to the bedroom. I'll handle it. I nodded and hurried down the hallway, shutting the bedroom door softly behind me. My breath was shallow. My palms damp.
Who could it be?
I pressed my ear to the door. I heard Emma open it. Then a familiar voice. Hey. Sorry to just drop by. My Wi-Fi's out again. I was wondering if Jason could help. He's always good with this stuff. It was Mark. Our neighbor. Nosy. Friendly. Always dropping in. Always talking. My chest tightened. Emma hesitated. Now's not a great time. He's, in the shower. In the middle of the day, he laughed.
Yeah.
Long night. He's resting up. Silence. Then Mark's voice again. Is he okay? He sounded weird on the phone the other day. Phone? What phone? I didn't remember calling him. But maybe I had. Or maybe I'd accidentally left a message while fumbling through apps in a panic. Maybe he knew something. My reflection in the mirror looked like it was about to break into pieces. Eventually, I heard the door close. Footsteps. Then a knock. Jason. Emma's voice called softly. He's gone. I opened the door a crack. Did he see anything? She shook her head.
No.
But he was suspicious. I stepped out, still in the cardigan, bra, and faint makeup. I looked in the mirror again, and this time, fear was woven into the beauty. Emma stepped behind me. It's your choice, she said. You can keep this private. You don't owe anyone else an explanation. I nodded slowly, but I knew something had changed. The world outside had knocked, and it might not wait quietly next time. The day passed quietly, at least on the surface. Emma and I stayed inside. We talked in soft voices, moved gently around each other. I'd changed into a simple pair of leggings and one of her oversized sweaters. Comfortable.
Calming.
My makeup was minimal, barely there, but enough to keep Jessa close. I felt okay. Safe even. Until I didn't. It happened around 6 p.m. Emma had stepped out to grab takeout, leaving me alone in the apartment. I'd finally found the courage to try on one of her silky slips, a soft lavender thing that clung just right, made me feel light, graceful, even a little elegant. I wore it with no wig, no shoes,
Just bare feet and quiet thoughts.
I was mid-spin in the hallway mirror, watching how it twirled, how I moved when the doorknob jiggled. Not Emma's key. Not the regular rhythm. Then the door opened. "Hey, Jason," a voice called out. It was my sister, Lena.
She had a spare key.
She always let herself in. I'd forgotten she was back in town. And now she was inside. "Sorry to just show up," she said casually, walking in with a bag of groceries. "Mom said to drop this off for you. She made that dumb soup you like." I stood frozen in the hallway, just around the corner. Slip clinging to my thighs. Heart pounding like a drumline. She hadn't seen me yet. I turned slowly, quietly tiptoeing backward toward the bedroom, but the slip brushed the corner of a loose coat on a hanger. It fell. Loudly. Thwump. Jason. Footsteps. Too fast. I sprinted into the bedroom, but I didn't make it. The door swung half-closed, and there she was. Lena stood in the hallway, staring at me. Mouth open. Frozen. A slow silence spread through the room, thick and choking. I clutched the edge of the slip like it could make me invisible. Neither of us spoke. Then, finally, she blinked and said just one word. "Oh." The worst "oh" I'd ever heard. Not judgmental. Not disgusted. Just full of questions. Ones I wasn't ready to answer. I opened my mouth, trying to speak, but I couldn't form anything. The shame rushed in like a flood. Hot and overwhelming. I stammered. But nothing came next. She took one small step back. "It's okay," she said quickly. "I didn't mean to. Sorry." She turned and backed into the hallway. Then she left. She didn't slam the door. Didn't even close it all the way. Just left it slightly ajar. Like a crack in the world I'd just fallen through. I collapsed onto the bed, breath shaking, slip wrinkled under my arms. This was it. The moment I'd feared. Jessa exposed. And now there was no taking it back. I hadn't moved. It had been maybe 10 minutes. Or 30. Or an hour. Time didn't matter anymore. I sat on the edge of the bed in Emma's slip, arms wrapped tightly around myself, barely breathing. The hallway light still filtered through the half-open bedroom door like a spotlight on a ruined scene. My reflection in the mirror looked dazed. Mascara lightly smudged from the heat behind my eyes. Jessa was still there. But this time, she looked scared. And not just scared of being seen. Scared of what came after. The front door opened again. "Jason." Emma called from the living room. I didn't respond. She walked in slowly, her takeout bag rustling in her arms. When she saw me, her face shifted immediately, from calm to alert. She set the food down and rushed to me. "What happened?" she asked, kneeling in front of me. "Are you okay?" I looked down at her. She saw me. I whispered.
Who?
"Lena." Emma's lips parted, then closed again. She used the spare key. I forgot she had it. Emma sat on the bed beside me, placing a hand gently on my knee. Did she say anything? I shook my head. Just oh. And then she left. Silence. Heavy. Emma looked at the slip I was still wearing. "You look beautiful, by the way," she said softly. That almost made me cry again. But my phone buzzed. Loud in the stillness. I grabbed it instinctively, the name glowing on the screen. Lena. Emma leaned closer. My thumb hovered over the message icon. Then I tapped. A simple text.
Hey.
"I'm not mad. Just confused.
Can we talk?"
My heart jumped. Then buzzed again. Another message. "I won't tell anyone. I just want to understand." I stared at the screen. Fingers frozen. Emma leaned her head on my shoulder. "She's giving you a chance." "But what if it goes wrong?" I asked. "What if she tells Mom? Or Dad? Or jokes about it with someone?" Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then, "What if she doesn't?" Another buzz. "Still love you. Just didn't expect all this. Call me?" I stared at the screen. I didn't know what to do. But I knew one thing. There was no going back. Lena knew. Emma knew. They both knew. And now the question wasn't whether I could hide Jessa. It was whether I was brave enough to let her live. I looked in the mirror again.
Took a deep breath.
Picked up my phone. And hovered my thumb over call. Cut to black.